Hello, and welcome back to our Life Group Leaders Lounge. My name is Brooks, and I'm joined by some fantastic co-hosts today.
Braden.
Raquel.
So welcome back. We're glad you're here with us today. So we have been talking about service and serving in a life group. And so why don't we get started first by, I just want to ask you guys, what has your experience been with your life group serving? Has your life group ever gone out and served? Tell us about it. Go.
Yeah, I mean, not actually through New Break, but through previous churches I've been on staff at. It's almost been like the initiative of someone in our group being like, hey, cool opportunity coming up with Thanksgiving at the elderly home. There's a chance to do this little service project. Like, things kind of just like almost
really
reactionary. Cool. Like, we have a connection or we heard about this. And so someone taking the initiative, but it was never like, dare I say, part of the DNA to be like, hey, we are a group who does life together and gets into the word together. So therefore, we should also serve together. So that's always been my experience. Is it's some groups do, some groups don't. More reactionary, less proactive.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So you just have a lot of self-starters in your group.
Again, this was in a previous group, but yes, I did have lots of self-starters. Yeah, it's true.
I think my group's more reactionary.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if the opportunity presents itself, we'll be there. I've served with almost every member of my group, but not in an organized life group fashion.
Okay.
We've served at church, all of our outreaches at church, but not necessarily
like your
on
life
our
group
own.
saying, hey, we are going to go serve together as a life group.
Yes.
Okay.
Or like come up with our own project, which I think leads us into kind of this new idea that we've had as a life group leader team called the Serve Challenge. Specifically to get our groups intentionally serving together.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So the idea of the Serve Challenge came from a couple of different, just trying to figure out a couple of different ideas of how do we get groups out serving within their communities. And so through working with our Kamar and through some of our other leaders, we were just doing some research and processing through. And then we as a team, like we said, we're talking about how do we do this. So yeah, some churches do a Serve Challenge as a whole, like one day a year. They go out and they serve as a church community. For us, when we use this term Serve Challenge within life groups, we're talking about once a semester, every semester, our life groups are going to get out and serve their neighbors. Yeah. And it's something kind of cool. I've actually been trying to reflect on this. Like Carter mentioned in one of our previous podcasts, if you haven't heard about it, it was called Be a Starfish and Not a Spider. That was this podcast we just did last week. Right. And one thing he mentioned is in the podcast is, you know, if your church closed its doors, would your neighborhood even be bothered by it? Would your neighborhood feel lost from that? Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about that in light of being in a life group. And I thought, you know what? Like, would the neighborhood that my life group meets in, would they feel a loss if our life group stopped meeting in that community? Or would they even know that we were even there? Yeah,
would they even know in the first place? Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of got me thinking about, that's kind of built this desire in my heart of like, man, how can I serve my neighbors within our life group?
And if I could jump in there too, I think one cool way to think about life groups is thinking about Jesus and the 12 disciples is almost like a prototype of life groups, or at least should be an inspiration to some degree. And if you think about the holistic components that Jesus led his life group with, of course there was teaching. He taught them so much. They shared common life together by doing fun things, by having meals together, all of common life. But then there was also that crucial component. They served together often. And it wasn't this reactionary thing. They were looking for opportunities. They were responding to needs as they heard them. Everywhere they went, people felt the presence of Jesus' life group. Can I call it that? Jesus' life group everywhere they went.
Are you setting the bar of life group leaders?
I'm not saying that we have to be...
lead in the caliber of Jesus.
Well, here's the thing.
There's,
yes.
that book, Lead Like Jesus. I've heard about that one, though, so that's a good one.
Yes and no, but I guess as a challenge, should we not, having the Spirit of Christ in us through His Holy Spirit, also feel compelled to at least model the way that we see him doing life. And it doesn't mean that it's going to look the same. So I'll get off my soapbox right now, but I'm going to get off the soapbox in this way. Instead of it being this big sandals to fill, make it in the context of your community, in the sense of Or is your group newer together? That's going to look different how you guys do life together.
Yeah.
Is your group like, where are you located? Well, it's going to look different than how Jesus did ministry. And so just taking into account, at least bringing together the components of community life together, teaching, and service.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And so I think the question is, especially as our groups are starting out fresh this semester, is like, how do you even approach that with your group?
Right.
Maybe that's something we could talk about real briefly is how do you even get this conversation started? And in my group, I'll just give my example for my group. So I got a great guy in my group named Jude. What's up, Jude? And Jude has a heart to serve the people, just serve people outside of our group. Like he just loves that idea of serving our community. And so one thing that he's going to do is we're meeting first time in a while tonight. He's going to just bring up the Serve Challenge to our group. And he's going to talk about how, hey, as a group, we want to find some community to serve. And so he'll bring it up and just say, hey, guys, I just want to throw this out. This is what we want to do. So why don't we as a group start praying about it? What are some things that we could do as a group? Maybe start seeing other people in our neighborhood that need some help. Is there a church service opportunity that we can partner with? Whatever it may be, but he's going to kind of introduce it, and then he's going to lead in prayer over that. And just ask God in week 1 to direct our group to find the right service for this semester. And that's kind of our plan moving forward is week 1, he's going to introduce it, remind everybody that's a heartbeat of who we are. That's part of our DNA. And we want to be the church through serving. And then we'll see what God does throughout the semester.
That is just super cool to have that person be the inspirer of the rest of your group. And I think within itself is such a compassionate thought process where your members are going to go home and they're going to be thinking more deeply about how their neighbors are doing, or this one who had a baby, or that one who's in the military, or whatever. Just kind of retraining your brain a little bit to think even more deeply about those people in itself is such a great growth.
Well, and I think something you said, I think really sums up what we were kind of processing earlier, is that we want to be intentional about this, because in the past it's kind of happened where someone's had a heartbeat for a particular community, or like you said, someone just had a baby, so let's do a meal train, as a group. Those are all awesome things. So we can do that, and we can also be intentional about having those conversations. So if you never have those conversations in your group, the chances of your group getting out there and doing it together are going to be kind of slim. You may have one person do it. Maybe you as a leader are like, okay, fine, I'll go pick up trash. But if you are sharing that as a group, and then as a community, we are, as a group community, you are having those conversations intentionally and praying over that, then people start to pick up the burden. You're right. You start not having to carry the torch by yourself, but you can have another person in your group who's got a passion for that. Dare I say, being a service rep on your team.
We have a name for it.
Yeah, it's called service rep. So as a leader, is there someone in your group that's got a heart for serving? Maybe they should be your service rep in your group, and let them be empowered to take the lead on it and start finding a group to serve.
Yeah, I would say summing up so far, it sounds like one of the key things if you actually are going to execute and getting your group to serve together is you have to make that part of the conversation and discussion of week 1 even.
Early
on. You're right. And there's going to be some milestones, and maybe you can give people a few milestones of where to sprinkle in these important conversation pieces leading up to a service project. But nevertheless, no doubt you need to have week 1 to be talking about it. And especially if you want to go that extra mile, like you said, your group needs to have a Jude, someone who is excited about service.
Shout out.
No, who's going to represent, who's going to push you as a leader to make sure, hey, are we hitting this? Are we getting
Keep
our group
you
talking?
accountable?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. And he does.
That.
He does. I mean, I just had a conversation with him on Sunday, and he's like, "All right, Brooks. So this week we're gonna talk about the Serve Challenge. We're gonna pray about it together." And I'll say something else. I was just talking to one of our new leaders, who's Bethany. Shout out Bethany and Michelle. They lead a yoga group, and it's so cool. I haven't even had a chance to talk to them about this, but I was talking to someone in their group, and they were talking about how every semester they get together early in the semester and say, "Okay, team, how are we going to serve our community this semester?"
That's how it goes.
And even though they're doing yoga, even though they're doing devotions before yoga, even though they're praying for each other and they're encouraging each other, that has become a heartbeat of who they are. Is, hey, how can we get out there and just be Jesus in the flesh to people around us.
Yeah.
And so it becomes a part of a rhythm of who we are. And that's kind of what we want to be as a church community, is we want that to be a heartbeat of our community and a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. I'm pumped. I'm excited about it.
So I guess where do we take it for today? So what do we want people to leave with in terms of like, what's that next step as well in facilitating this like logical flow of what to do?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so week 1, you want to have the conversation with your group, talk about the Serve Challenge, talk about that's a part of who we are as a church community and life groups, and then pray about it as a group. By week 3, I would suggest your group make a decision about what you want to do, who you want to serve. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it may take a little bit longer, but I would say by week 3, decide as a group what you want to do. And maybe you could even go to our website for some ideas of some different service projects we have that you can partner with as a group.
So between 1 and week 3, you've brought up ideas.
Yes.
Probably week 2, you've brought up ideas, and my local school has this, or I've seen a really this area needs to be clean. I mean, I even drive around and I see like, oh, this area really needs to be cleaned up. So you've had those conversations with your group members, and you've had the conversations with the potential people whom you will be serving.
Yes.
So by week 3.
That's good. That's good logistics of that. And so by week 3, you want to go to, for us, we have a website at our church called, you can go to, it's newbreak.church/challenge. And if you go there, you can get a summary of the Serve Challenge, kind of the philosophy behind it. And also you can actually go on there and put in exactly what you're going to be doing as a group.
Nice.
So you can put in the focus, your target audience. What are you going to do? Okay, we're going to go pick up trash in Tirisana. You put in the day that you're going to be doing it. You put in any logistics that are needed. And then what we'll do as a church community is we'll actually take that information and we'll put it online, and we'll open it up if anybody else wants to join you for your group.
If you choose.
If you choose. Yeah, there's an option. You could say, okay, I just want to just do my group.
Right. We're going to my neighbor's house. I don't want 40 people.
Yeah. So when you go to the website, you could see that as an option. You could just say, I just want to have a close. I just want it to be our group. But what that does is it allows us to know how many groups are serving, and it actually provides another opportunity for people to join and partner with your service project
at
if they
our
want
3
to.
campuses. Yeah.
At each of our campuses.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm wanting to serve. You can pop on there and, they're doing a trash cleanup. And
yes,
yeah, cool.
Exactly. So yeah, maybe your group can even partner with that. And so then I would say you have the rest of the semester between week 3 and week 10 to do that service project. There are some times where the service project falls outside of that. Like for instance, for us, we finish November. I think this semester we finished late November, but before Thanksgiving. So if you are doing a Thanksgiving outreach, that may fall outside of the semester.
But you planned it during.
But you've planned it, yeah. And so the last thing I'd say is, hey, make sure when you do the service project, the final step for that is to just tell the story. Yeah. What did God do? How did God show up in the service project? How did God change your group? Because of that. And so you can actually we actually have a site to be able to, our webpage to be able to record that. So that would be newbreak.church/story.
And we'll link both those links down
we'll
below.
put those in the links below for sure.
Yeah.
So it's been a great conversation. Serve Challenge, life group leaders, our prayer for you is that you would find a way to start having those conversations and get your group serving and just see
like
God
Jesus.
work through it.
Yes.
Exactly, like Jesus in
Big
those
sandals.
sandals. Big sandals. There we go. Big Jesus rainbow sandals.
That should be the
rainbow
title.
sandals meaning
This title of this episode is Big Sandals.
Yes.
There we go.
All right.
Well,
thanks so much. Okay, bye guys.